The sun rose slowly over the peaceful village of Okan, casting a warm golden glow across the wide river Udo. Birds chattered in the nearby trees, fishermen prepared their nets, and the world seemed calm, except for one man. Dave, the fisherman everyone knew for his kindness and honesty, sat at the riverbank staring into the water. His canoe rocked gently behind him, but his eyes were heavy with worry. For weeks he had caught nothing. His nets came up empty, his traps stayed untouched, and the river, usually generous, felt strangely distant. Dave's wife, Omen, tried to stay hopeful, but their home was growing quieter, and their pots were growing emptier. Still, Dave refused to give up. On this particular morning, he pushed his canoe into the water with renewed determination. The river breeze cooled his skin, and the gentle ripples carried him toward the deeper part of the stream where he had always believed the river hid its secrets. He cast his net, waited, pulled. Nothing. He cast again, waited, pulled. Still nothing. Dave sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "River Udo," he whispered, "what have I done to offend you?" And that was when it happened. The water around his canoe shimmered, not the normal sparkle of sunlight but a glistening ripple of pure gold. Dave blinked, leaned forward and froze. A golden catfish, its scales shining like polished metal, swam slowly toward the boat. It was larger than any catfish he had ever seen. Its whiskers glowed softly, its eyes sparkled like stars, and its body seemed to light up the river from beneath. Dave's heart raced. He lowered his net gently, carefully, trying not to frighten it. But the fish didn't swim away. Instead, it lifted its head above the water and looked directly at him. And then, in a calm, clear voice, spoke. "Dave, son of a bee, why do you cast your nets with such sorrow in your heart?" Dave stumbled backward so fast he nearly fell out of the canoe. His hands trembled as he gripped the paddle. "What manner of creature are you?" he whispered. The catfish floated gracefully, its golden scales glowing even brighter. "I am Miri," it said, "guardian of this river, and I have watched your struggles." Dave swallowed hard, unable to believe his eyes or ears. The fish continued. "You are a good man, Dave. The river knows your heart. And because of your kindness, I have come with a gift, a chance to change your life." Dave leaned forward, breath uneven. "A chance? What kind of chance?" The fish swirled the water with its tail, creating a small whirlpool of golden light. "3 wishes," Miri said softly. "Ask for anything and I shall grant it." Dave's mouth fell open. 3 wishes. It sounded impossible, something children whispered about in moonlit stories. Yet here it was, shimmering before him. He stared at the fish, unsure whether to be grateful or afraid. The river grew silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. "What must I give in return?" Dave finally asked. The golden catfish smiled, if fish could smile. "Everything in this world comes with a price, Dave. My gifts are no different. Your wishes will shape your life, but each one will demand wisdom." A shiver ran through Dave. He did not understand what the fish meant, but he felt the weight of its words. Still, the thought of helping his struggling family tugged at his heart. Maybe, just maybe, this was the blessing he had been praying for. "Very well," Dave whispered. "I accept." The river brightened as though the sun itself bowed in agreement. And so began the story of a man, a magical catfish, and 3 wishes that would change everything, in ways Dave could never imagine. The next morning, the villagers found Dave standing at the riverbank before sunrise. He wasn't fishing, he was waiting for the golden catfish. And just when he began to worry it had all been a dream, the water rippled with golden light. Miri, the magical catfish, rose gracefully from the river. "Have you thought about your first wish, Dave?" Its voice echoed through the calm water. Dave nodded. His heart beat quickly, not from excitement but from fear of asking for the wrong thing. He thought about wishing for wealth, then remembered what wealth had done to others. He thought about wishing for a big house, But Omen, his wife, cared more for peace than luxury. Finally he sighed and spoke. "I wish," he began slowly, "for my family never to lack food again." The fish's golden whiskers twitched. "Humble wish. Sincere wish." "Granted," Miri said. The river glowed brightly, light shooting upward like a fountain of gold. And suddenly, Dave felt the world around him shift. When he returned home, he discovered the miracle. Their once empty barn overflowed with yams, cassava, grains, vegetables, fresh and abundant. Their cooking pots were filled with food that seemed to renew itself every day. Omen froze in shock when she saw the overflowing baskets. "Dave, how? Where did these come from?" Dave hesitated. Should he tell her? Would she believe him? But before he could answer, neighbors began arriving, complaining loudly that their own barns and farms suddenly seemed emptier. Their harvests looked smaller. Their waters seemed less generous. People whispered, "Why does Dave's family suddenly have so much? Is it normal? Is it natural? What is he hiding?" His simple wish had solved one problem, but created another. That night Dave couldn't sleep. He sat outside staring at the moonlit sky. He had food, but now he had suspicion, envy, and rumors. Was this the price the golden catfish warned him about? He didn't know, but soon he would learn. A week later, Dave returned to the river, confused and worried. Miri appeared again, ripples glowing softly around it. "The food has brought trouble," Dave said. "People look at me with fear and jealousy." The fish blinked slowly. "Every gift shifts the world around it." Dave swallowed. Maybe another wish could fix the damage. He sat for a long time thinking. He thought of his wife, Omen, gentle, hardworking, loving. She deserved the world, yet she often felt invisible. A thought struck him, and without thinking through the consequences, he said, "I wish Omen could be respected and admired by everyone in the village." Miri's golden glow brightened. "Granted." When Dave returned home, he found Omen glowing, literally. Her presence felt warm and inviting. People flocked to her doorstep, praising her, asking for her advice, calling her the jewel of Oaken Village. Omen, confused, simply tried to help. But admiration soon turned into obsession. Women envied her beauty. Men praised her too boldly. Families sought her counsel more than that of village elders. And gradually, people respected Omen. But they began to ignore Dave. Some even whispered, "Maybe Omen is too good for him. She could have married a more successful man." Dave watched villagers crowd around his wife while he stood alone, unnoticed and unappreciated. Bitterness crept into his heart, slowly and painfully. One night, tears stung Omen's eyes. "I didn't ask for all this attention," she whispered. "I only want peace with you, Dave." And at that moment, Dave realized the truth. Sometimes admiration is heavier than hatred. Dave returned to the river one last time. He felt older somehow, more tired, more lost. The golden catfish emerged quietly. Its glow was softer now, almost sad. "You come for your final wish." Dave nodded. He thought of making life easier. He thought of undoing the chaos. He thought of the village, his marriage, and the burden he had placed on himself. But instead of wisdom, fear guided his tongue. "I want everything to go back the way it used to be, before my wishes." Simple request, but not a simple impact. Miri floated silently, then spoke. "If that is what you desire, it shall be so." Suddenly the river roared. Wind howled. Trees bent. The world spun as the river swallowed its own light. When the storm quieted, Dave blinked, and everything had changed. The barn was empty again. The villagers forgot Omen's strange popularity. The looks, the whispers, the jealousy, all gone. Life returned to normal. But something was missing. Dave rushed to the river. "Miri, Miri, are you there?" Only silence. He called again. Nothing. He had used his final wish. He had undone everything. But by doing so, he had lost the golden catfish forever. Dave sank to his knees, understanding the price of his fear. He had wasted the greatest gift the river had ever offered. The months after Dave's final wish passed slowly, as if the village itself were exhaling after a long storm. No more whispers. No more jealous stares. No strange miracles or sudden blessings. Life had settled into its natural rhythm again. Honest, simple, sometimes difficult, but peaceful. Dave returned to fishing every morning, pushing his wooden canoe into the river at dawn. His hands were rougher now, his back stronger, his heart steadier. He no longer searched for shortcuts. He no longer expected magic. Instead, he found a quiet contentment in the sound of water brushing against the canoe, the songs of early birds, and the warm laughter of Omen waiting for him at home. Yet deep inside there was a small ache. Not of regret, but of remembrance. He remembered the glow of the river that night. He remembered the voice of the golden catfish. He remembered how powerful 3 simple wishes had felt, and how heavy their consequences had been. Even though he had undone the past, the lessons remained carved into his heart like lines chiseled in stone. But life was not done teaching him. Sparkles a festival he did not expect. One afternoon, the village prepared for the annual river Thanksgiving. Children danced while carrying palm leaves. Women fetched clay pots filled with river water. Men carved fish-shaped masks as tradition demanded. Every year Dave took part, but this time felt different. The river meant more to him now. It had given him gifts. It had taken them away. It had taught him what many spend lifetimes failing to understand. Omen walked to him wearing a wrapper dyed the color of deep blue waters. When she smiled, it was gentle. Not the dazzling glow from the wish, but the warm, natural smile that had made him fall in love with her years ago. "Will you tell the village your story today?" she asked softly. Dave shook his head. "No. They won't believe it." Omen's eyes softened. "Some stories do not need to be believed to be useful." He paused. She was right. Sparkles the river's whisper returns. That evening, the villagers gathered at the shore. Drums thumped like a large heartbeat. Torches flickered. Elder women sang praises to the river spirit. Dave stood quietly among them, watching the dark water reflect the firelight. Tiny shimmer. Just a blink of gold beneath the surface. So fast he almost thought he imagined it. His breath caught. He stepped forward. The river's breeze brushed his face, carrying a familiar feeling, a comforting stillness. Omen touched his arm. "Dave, you see something, don't you?" He swallowed. "Yes. Or maybe I only feel it." The water rippled again, slowly, gently, like a hand waving from beneath. But Miri did not rise. It simply shimmered, then faded into darkness. Dave knew what that meant. Forgiveness, not return. The catfish wasn't coming back to grant more wishes. It wasn't sending blessings or warnings. It was reminding him of the final lesson. Magic appears only when a heart is ready to learn, not when it is eager to take. Sparkles the speech that silenced the village. When the drumming slowed, the village chief called for anyone who wished to offer a testimony of gratitude to step forward. Villagers expected the elderly, the wealthy, the respected. No one expected Dave. But he stepped out anyway. The crowd murmured. Dave was not the type to give speeches. He was quiet, humble, unseen by most. But tonight, his voice needed to be heard. He stood near the riverbank, took a deep breath, and began. "Months ago, I experienced something that changed my life," he said. "I cannot prove it. You may not believe it. But the message it left behind is what matters." The villagers fell silent. Omen watched him with pride. "I learned that everything we desire comes with a price," Dave continued. "I learned that shortcuts may look beautiful at first, but they bring shadows behind them." Heads nodded slowly. He raised his hands, palms open. "I wished for food, and I received it. But envy followed. I wished for my wife to be admired. She was. But loneliness followed. I wished for life to return to normal. Did. But loss followed. The crowd listened with wide eyes. Dave's voice softened. The river gave me what I asked for, but it also gave me what I needed. And what I needed was wisdom. He pointed at the river gently. This river is powerful. But the greatest power is not magic. It is contentment, hard work, gratitude, love. Mothers hugged their children. Old men stroked their beards thoughtfully. Even the chief nodded deeply. Then Dave said the words that would be remembered for generations. Greed takes away what gratitude protects. Sparkles the river's blessing. When Dave stepped back, the air felt different. Warmer, softer, peace. A small wave rolled toward the shore, gentle, almost affectionate, and lapped at Dave's feet alone. The elders stiffened. "The river has accepted your words," one whispered. Dave bowed respectfully. For the first time in a long time he felt light. Not because of a wish, but because of understanding. Sparkles a future built without magic. In the months that followed, Dave's life blossomed naturally. His fishing improved through his own skills, not magic. The villagers respected him, not out of envy but wisdom. Omen became known for her kindness, not forced admiration. Their home remained small but warm, filled with laughter. And when children asked him years later whether the golden catfish truly existed, Dave simply smiled. "Some things must be felt, not seen," he would say. "But remember this above all. Magic can change your life, but wisdom can save it." The legend of the golden catfish lived on, whispered by storytellers around fires, sung in festivals, passed from generation to generation. But none told it better than Dave, the fisherman who learned that the greatest miracle in life is a grateful heart.